It's budget day in India. Usually budget speeches follow a familiar script. But this year feels different. If we have to sum up this budget in one word, it would be pivot. India is facing global headwinds. It still remains the world's fastest growing major economy, and the growth rate has fallen below 7%. There is a jobs crisis combined with growing inflation and falling avenues of investment. Adding to the complication is the return of Donald Trump in America. Trade dynamics of major powers are shifting. The global economy itself is showing signs of weakness. So how can India continue to grow in this challenging environment? The government is rejigging its priorities to revive growth. That means fewer mega projects or big-ticket initiatives. Instead, the focus has shifted to the common man, the middle class. It is a back-to-the-basics budget, guided by a new philosophy and a fresh set of priorities. Let's bring you the top 10 highlights. Topping the list, of course, is a tax break for the middle class. If you earn less than 12 lakh Indian rupees in 1 year or around 14,000 US dollars, you will pay no income tax.
I am now happy to announce that there will be no income tax payable up to income of 12 lakh rupees. Average income of 1 lakh per month, other than the special rate income such as capital gains, under the new regime. This limit will be 12.75 lakh for salaried taxpayers due to the standard deduction of 75,000.
This tax break is for those who opt for the new regime. Earlier, the threshold for this was 7 lakh rupees. Now, the government has raised it to 12 lakh rupees. Some exemptions have been hiked as well. We'll break this down in greater detail in a few minutes on the show. But like the finance minister said, the goal is to reduce the tax burden on the middle class of India, which brings me to the second highlight, the income tax laws. They are about to undergo significant changes. Next week, Nirmala Sitharaman will table a new income tax bill.
I am happy to inform this August House and the country that for new income tax bill will carry forward the same spirit of Nyaya in its drafting as well. The new bill will be clear and direct in text, with close to half of the present law in terms of both chapters and words. It will be simple to understand for taxpayers and tax administrators, leading to tax certainty and reduced litigation.
We still don't have the specifics, but the new tax law has two main goals. First is to reduce tax litigation, and second is to simplify tax laws, to make them easy to understand. The finance minister shared a key insight today. India's current tax law dates back to 1961. It has 23 chapters and 298 sections. The new tax bill will be 60% shorter, so the government could do away with multiple archaic provisions in India's tax law. And these changes won't come cheap. Government revenues will take a hit, an $11.6 billion hit. This is because of the reduced tax rates. Nonetheless, the government plans to invest in high growth sectors, and that's highlight number 3, funding for startups. The government of India will infuse 10,000 crores for this. The money will be directed towards an existing fund, a fund that was created back in 2016. Both government and private sector players have contributed to this fund. So far, more than 1,100 startups have received funding from this entity, and they need more support going forward. Indian startups have been struggling. There has been a funding winter of sorts, especially in the tech sector. The government's latest cash infusion could jumpstart new investments. Highlight number 4, this is about artificial intelligence. The government wants to build a center for AI excellence. 500 crore rupees have been set aside for this.
Center of Excellence in AI for Education. I had announced 3 centers of excellence in artificial intelligence for agriculture, health, and sustainable cities in 2023. Now a center of excellence in artificial intelligence for education will be set up with a total outlay of 500 crores.
No one can afford to ignore AI anymore. It is the next big thing, also the new battleground for global powers. But AI supremacy requires relentless investment. And this cannot be limited to AI infrastructure alone. India also needs the right talent pool. This budget has a provision for that too. The government has set aside funds for 30 new skill centers. Again, they will focus on artificial intelligence along with robotics and the Internet of Things. The government is also incentivizing MSMEs. That's highlight number 5. MSMEs are micro, small and medium enterprises. They will receive better credit guarantees. They are now eligible for 20 crores of collateral-free credit. Earlier, this limit was 10 crores. Now it is 20 crores. So the government has essentially doubled their credit guarantee. Businesses are getting some tax relief too. Highlight number 6. Customs and tariffs have been slashed on multiple goods. The government is simplifying this tariff structure. Currently, there are 15 different tariff rates. Now, 7 of them will be removed. Basic customs duties on multiple products are also being cut. This includes 12 critical minerals, 35 capital goods used for manufacturing of EVs, and 36 life-saving drugs. And this includes cancer treatments.
To provide relief to patients, particularly those suffering from cancer, rare diseases, and other severe chronic diseases, I propose to add 36 life-saving drugs and medicines to the list of medicines fully exempted from basic custom duty.
Highlight number 7 is infrastructure. For nearly a decade now, the NDA government has prioritized infrastructure spending. The goal was to drive growth and create jobs. And this year is no different. The government will invest almost $130 billion in infrastructure. The money will go towards building roads, railways, and ports. Highlight number 8 is on FDI. That's foreign direct investment, FDI. There were some announcements on this front too. They have removed FDI limits in the insurance sector. So now foreign companies can invest up to 100% in India. This means doors are now open for foreign players to enter India's insurance industry. Highlight number 9, the government's finances. How is the government managing its expenses? Well, spending still exceeds earnings. This year, the fiscal deficit stands at 4.8%. Fiscal deficit is the gap between the government's spending and earning. That is the deficit. And while the government is running a deficit, it seems to be under control now. In the next financial year, the government plans to bring the deficit down to 4.4%.
The fiscal deficit is estimated to be 4.4% of GDP. To finance the fiscal deficit, the net market borrowings from dated securities are estimated at 11.54 lakh crore. The balance financing is expected to come from small savings and other sources.
Time for highlight number 10, the new priorities for the government. Like I said, with this budget, they're making a pivot, focusing on new things. The government has identified six domains for this: taxation, power, urban development, the financial sector, mining, and regulatory reforms. And the finance minister is promising transformational reforms in these areas. So that was the budget for you. It is clear that the government is taking a new approach. The global landscape is more challenging than before. The developed world is turning inward. Globalization is losing appeal, and geopolitics is shaping trade relations. So far, India remains on the right side of these shifts, but not without suffering a few setbacks. India's growth rate has slowed. Job creation and investment have stalled. For a revival, the government needs a new game plan, and today's budget is an acknowledgement of that reality. We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we've put together for you. Touted as the minimum defense from that video. India's neighbors were the first to send this special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout this week. Yes, Hindu Mandir we're on our way to Tel Aviv. City measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi did the iron.
we were actually
What are you doing? How do you like it? It's been 1 year since that meeting. iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote efforts Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion, 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.